In the upscale Acasuso district of Buenos Aires, the Banco Río branch stood as a fortress of finance.
On the morning of January 13th, 2006, it was business as usual until it became the stage for one of the most ingenious and audacious crimes in history. I'm Joker, and tonight we're going behind the mask. The operation was not the work of common thugs, but of a meticulously assembled team of specialists, each a master of their craft. At the helm was Fernando Araujo, the architect, a man of artistic temperament, obsessed with creating the perfect crime. He was the visionary who saw the entire plan before a single tool was lifted. His partner in engineering was Sebastian, the technician, a quiet genius with a deep grudge against the banking system and the skills to turn wild ideas into precise working mechanisms. Providing the capital and underworld connections was Beto El Tortero, the bankroller, a veteran gangster whose role was to fund the dream and acquire the necessary hardware. Finally, there was Luis the actor, a charismatic ex-con whose talents for deception, improvisation, and psychological manipulation were as sharp as any weapon. Aiding them from the shadows were two ghosts: the coordinator, a faceless broker who made vital introductions and smoothed unseen paths, and the wheelman, the anonymous driver, tasked with the final critical escape. The obsession began in a psychiatrist's office. Fernando Araujo, a frequent cannabis user with no criminal record, confessed a strange desire.
I want to rob a Weston's and do his efforts in that bank. I want to rob a bank.
I want to rob a bank, not for money, he insisted, but to create a masterpiece, a work of art in the medium of theft. His doctor dismissed it as drug-fueled fantasy, but Fernando's mind was already constructing the blueprint. He spent months surveilling potential targets, finally settling on the Banco Rio in the wealthy San Isidro neighborhood. Its vault held not just cash, but the safe deposit boxes of Argentina's elite, a trove of jewels, gold, and untraceable assets. Traditional methods were rejected. A daylight raid was too messy and yielded little. A classic nighttime tunnel job risked sophisticated heat and motion sensors. Fernando's eureka moment came while studying the street. He noticed the pattern of sewer access covers. Every 10 meters, a manhole led to a vast citywide network of tunnels. He traced this network to find a main outflow pipe just 150 meters from the bank's back wall. The city itself had provided his secret highway. He recruited Sebastian, explaining the vision. They would not tunnel into the bank, but use a tunnel to leave it. They would conduct a loud, public, armed takeover, let the police surround them in a classic siege, and then vanish through the floor, leaving only confusion behind. Sebastian, whose family had been ruined by a banking collapse, was captivated by the technical challenge and the poetic justice. Posing as potential clients, they entered the bank to study the layout. The vault was in the basement. They needed its exact location. Here, the coordinator made his first move, providing them with the building's architectural blueprints, acquired through unknown means. With these, Sebastian could calculate the exact spot in the sewer from which to dig their final short tunnel up into the vault's foundation. But they needed money for tools, vehicles, and materials. The coordinator arranged a meeting with Beto, the bankroller. Beto was older, slower, but well-connected. He had no cash on hand, but offered to sell his truck to finance the operation. His experience in procuring hard-to-find items and his calm demeanor under pressure made him invaluable. The crew now had its financier. The final piece was the performance artist, Again, the coordinator delivered, introducing Luis, a man with a violent past and a history of prison breaks. Luis possessed a surprising and potent skill. He was a brilliant actor and liar. He could control a room, manipulate emotions, and tell a convincing story. His role would be to manage the hostage scene topside and engage the police in a marathon negotiation, buying the crucial hours the team needed below.
So the entry point is here.
And the hydraulics will manage the water flow.
But what about unforeseen blockages?
That's where we improvise.
For over a year, the crew prepared. They rented a garage. The technician, Sebastian, designed and built a custom hydraulic device they called El Cañón, the cannon. It could blast open the hardened steel doors of the safe deposit boxes in under 7 seconds. He also sourced sound-dampening materials and a diesel generator. The bankroller, Beto, handled procurement. His most critical acquisition was the crew's armory, a set of realistic-looking replica firearms. This was the architect's calculated legal safeguard. If caught, the charge would be theft, not armed robbery, leading to a far lighter sentence. Their escape route was elaborate. They chose a specific sewer manhole 200 meters away as their exit point. The bankroller provided a white Renault traffic van in the garage. They cut a precise hole in its floor. This van would be parked directly over the manhole. The crew would climb up from the sewer through the manhole directly into the van's hidden compartment, and the wheelman would drive them away unseen. To navigate the flooded sewer tunnels, they would use inflatable rafts. They even built a small dam within the sewer system to raise the water level to ensure smooth sailing for their getaway. An astonishing feat of underground engineering. Every detail was scripted, including a contingency plan Fernando called the cuckoo strategy, a feigned failed escape attempt meant to convince police the thieves were desperate and trapped inside. On Friday, January 13th, 2006, just before noon, the plan snapped into motion. The technician, Sebastian, entered the sewer system alone, navigating to the end of the short tunnel his team had dug. He waited in the damp darkness, the cannon and inflatable rafts by his side, his ear against the vault wall. At 1 p.m., the main doors of the Banco Rio burst open. The architect, the bankroller, and the actor stormed in, brandishing their replica weapons. This is an assault.
Everyone on the ground.
Everyone on the ground now. Luis's voice, charged with theatrical authority, filled the space. 25 customers and employees hit the floor. Fernando executed the cuckoo strategy. He grabbed a hostage, ran to the bank's door, peeked out as if to flee, then dragged the hostage back inside, shouting in feigned panic about the police presence. To the watching SWAT teams, it confirmed the robbers were surprised and now bottled in. One bank guard managed to lock himself in a bulletproof security booth, triggering the silent alarm. Within minutes, the building was surrounded by over 100 police and elite Brigada de Operaciones Especiales officers. A classic siege began. This was the actor's moment. Luis picked up the phone in the manager's office. The police commander got on the line. "Who am I speaking with?" the commander asked. "You can call me Luis," came the calm, almost bored reply. "Look, we came to rob a bank, not hurt anyone. But your guys got here awfully fast." Thus began one of the most surreal negotiations in crime history.
Now, officer, let's not be hasty. We're all reasonable men here, aren't we? Think of the paperwork.
Luis, the actor, created a full persona, a weary, philosophizing veteran criminal he called the man in the gray suit. He complained about prison food, debated morality, and spun long, meandering stories. He demanded a lawyer named Dr. Molly and even gave the police a phone number. When they called it, Luis answered again, flawlessly impersonating the lawyer's voice, delaying them further. Meanwhile, the guard in the booth remained a problem. He had a direct line to police command. Luis escalated the drama. He grabbed a young female bank teller, held a gun to her head, and screamed at the guard through the glass. The woman, genuinely terrified, sobbed and begged the guard to surrender so she could see her children again. Up to the emotional performance worked. The guard emerged, was disarmed, and Luis, in a move of pure psychological theater, simply let him walk out the front door into police custody. The message was clear. We are in control, and we are merciful. For 2 hours, the actor held the entire Buenos Aires police force at bay with nothing but his voice and his wit. News media broadcast live, dubbing the mysterious negotiator the gentleman thief. Below in the vault, it was a symphony of precision. After the guard surrendered, Fernando gave the signal by pounding on the vault's interior wall. Sebastian on the other side fired up the cannon. The wall crumbled. For 120 minutes, the two men worked like demons in the concrete tomb. The air grew thick with dust and heat from the hydraulic equipment. They stuffed cash, stacks of dollars and euros, gold bars, jewelry, and bundles of unknown valuables into large duffel bags. They aimed to open 400 boxes. The heat and mechanical strain slowed them, but the haul was already immense. At the 2-hour mark, Fernando called Luis. It's time. Start the finale. Luis returned to the phone with the police commander.
Okay, we're tired. We'll surrender. But we've been in here a long time. We're hungry. Before we come out, shh, we want pizza from Las Cuarteras.
Okay, we're tired. We'll surrender. But we've been in here a long time. We're hungry. Before we come out, we want pizza. A proper Italian pizza from Las Cuartetas in downtown Buenos Aires. He named a famous restaurant nearly an hour away across the city. The stunned commander agreed, desperate to end the standoff peacefully. As soon as he hung up, Luis severed the phone lines. The police were left holding a deadline and a pizza order. Inside, the final steps were taken with ritualistic care. The 4 men gathered in the vault. They spread a small, clean mat on the floor. One by one, they placed their replica pistols and rifles neatly on it. A silent, deliberate signature. They dragged the filing cabinet back over the hole in the wall. Sebastian placed a device with wires and a timer next to it, making it look like a live bomb to slow down anyone who found the entrance. They dragged the heavy duffel bags of loot down the narrow tunnel and loaded them onto one of the inflatable rafts. They climbed onto the second raft, tethered it to the first, and Sebastian started the small electric outboard motor. With a quiet hum, they vanished into the dark, waist-high water of the main sewer tunnel, their headlamps cutting through the gloom.
Is everyone all right back there? Yeah, we're good. Keep moving.
They traveled 200 meters through the city's bowels, then stopped under their pre-selected manhole. Above them, the wheelman sat in the idling Renault traffic. The crew climbed the iron rungs, pushed open the heavy cover just enough, and one by one, along with every bag of loot, ascended through the hatch cut in the van's floor. The manhole cover slid back into place. The wheelman drove off, merging calmly into Friday afternoon traffic. The entire escape, from the vault to a moving vehicle, took less than 10 minutes. They arrived at a prearranged safe house, carried the bags inside, and turned on the television. To their stunned disbelief and delight, the news channels were still broadcasting live from outside the bank. The police were still there, waiting. The pizza had just arrived.
News, the standoff continues at City Central Bank. Officers are still on high alert.
At the bank, the police commander, with the delivered pizzas in hand, tried repeatedly to re-establish contact. Silence. Fearful the thieves were executing hostages. He gave the order, storm the bank. SWAT teams smashed through doors, weapons raised, shouting for everyone to stay down. They found only the hostages, still lying obediently face down on the floor, terrified. The thieves were gone. A thorough search of the building revealed no one. It was impossible. Bewildered, police first theorized the robbers had disguised themselves among the hostages. All 25 were handcuffed and taken out under arrest for questioning.
Police first theorized the robbers had disguised themselves among the hostages. All 25 were handcuffed and taken out under arrest for questioning.
It was only upon a second, more meticulous sweep that an officer noticed the slightly out-of-place filing cabinet in the vault. Moving it revealed the ragged hole in the ominous bomb which the bomb squad disabled. Discovering it was a dummy, the truth dawned: a tunnel. They followed it to the sewer, but by then, the trail was over an hour cold. The heist was a masterpiece of misdirection. The loud, violent takeover was the trick. The silent, watery escape was the truth. The haul was staggering. An official estimate placed the theft at over $19 million USD in cash, jewels, and valuables, making it the largest cash robbery in Argentine history. The insurance company offered a massive reward, but the thieves had left no physical evidence behind. The crew dispersed, each taking a share of the loot. The architect's design seemed flawless, but he had not factored in a force more unpredictable than the police: domestic strife. The bankroller, Beto, returned home to his wife Elisa, who knew of the heist. They celebrated their newfound wealth, but soon argued. Elisa, without telling him, began spending large sums of the hidden cash. When Beto discovered hundreds of thousands were missing, a fierce fight erupted. In a fit of jealous rage, she suspected he had a mistress. Elisa did the unthinkable. She went to the police and turned him in. Beto's arrest cracked the case wide open. Under pressure, and with phone records tracing his contacts, the identities of the other three were revealed. One by one, they were hunted down. Fernando was captured living in a tent in a remote forest. Luis was tracked to neighboring Uruguay. Sebastian was arrested at home. The coordinator and the wheelman, however, remained phantoms, their names never known. At their trial in 2008, the crew's careful planning paid a final dividend. The prosecution could not prove the weapons were real. The defense presented them as convincing replicas, a key part of the plan to avoid bloodshed. This crucial distinction meant the charges were aggravated robbery instead of armed robbery, which carried a far lighter sentence. All four were convicted, but received surprisingly lenient terms between 3 and 9 years. They were all released early for good behavior, having served only a fraction of their sentences. To this day, the vast majority of the $19 million has never been recovered. The Banco Río heist is not remembered as a violent crime, but as a legend, a brazen, almost theatrical act of intellectual audacity. It was a heist conceived by an artist, engineered by a technician, financed by a bankroller, and sold to the world by an actor. They used the city's infrastructure as their tool, the police siege as their cover, and human psychology as their weapon. The final, elegant signature, the fake guns laid neatly on a mat, was their statement. It was not just a robbery. It was, as the architect had dreamed in his psychiatrist's office, a perverse work of art, a flawless performance, where the final, brilliant act was simply disappearing. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. The truth doesn't knock twice. I'll be waiting behind the mask.